Blah 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 blah.
Hey guys, welcome back to Canadian Gears. This is our interview portion. I'm here with Jeff Pennock, who's going to share his story about a motorcycle accident he had. Jeff, I understand you don't, go on camera very much. I really appreciate you doing this interview for us. It's actually a privilege for us to have you here. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I understand that you were involved in a motorcycle accident, somewhat in the '90s or something like that.
Yeah, 1998. It was early evening. I was on my way to work, and I had a tow truck turn left in front of me, and I went head on into the passenger door of it, and basically bounced backwards is what they told me after the fact. We found this out. Yeah, it was quite the impact.
How fast were you traveling at the time? Do you recall?
I think it was 80 posted there, 80 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, so that would have been travel. That's
I think
quite a
that's
speed
what
to
it
hit
was.
a tow truck at. So you hit this tow truck and you said you bounced back and everything. So you obviously ended up in the hospital. So how severe were the injuries and how long were you in the hospital?
Injuries were severe. I had multiple compound fractures. I was in the hospital altogether at the beginning for about 2.5 months before I was released. Yeah.
Wow. So 2.5 months laid on your back, and so in those 2.5 months, I guess there were some surgeries going on. You had a really bad leg.
Yeah.
I understand that they offered amputation at some point, or it was a better route. I don't know if you could explain that a bit.
They did. They let me know that I'd be up and mobile quicker if they did amputate, and then put me in a good prosthetic, and my recovery time would have been considerably shorter. I expressed that I was very grateful that they gave me the opportunity to make that choice, and I said no, I'd rather do everything that we can to save it. They explained that there's going to be multiple surgeries over a lengthy period of time, and he said, be honest with you, most people wouldn't want to go through what you're going to have to go through to keep your leg. I said, that's definitely the road I want to go. I never want to have to sit and wonder what if.
So you decided to opt for all these multiple surgeries. Now, how long did this stretch out, the surgeries, and roughly how many surgeries did you have on your leg?
Like we said, I was in the hospital for about 2.5 months, and then from there they released me to home, where they had a hospital bed in my living room set up.
Really?
Yeah, and I was basically there long enough to get strong enough to go to the next surgery. So then they'd I get taken back to the hospital. They do whatever surgery they needed to do at that time, because it was all in kind of different steps.
Yeah.
And then once the surgery was done and I was in the recovery and strong enough to go home, then they'd send me home back to the hospital bed and get strong and heal up enough to go for the next surgery. This went on for about 2.5 years altogether between surgeries, and I think there's over a dozen surgeries they did.
That's a lot of time to be going around, and you're doing a lot of surgeries off and on. So obviously your body was going through a lot of stuff, your leg was going through a lot of stuff. Now, at one point, was there ever any doubt of the healing? Was there anything that the doctors would try to push amputation again later on, or?
The infection. I had some serious troubles with infection, and infection in the bone. And there was other times where they had to go with a surgery just to open me up to put in these antibiotic beads inside my leg.
Oh wow!
So it was a pretty drastic approach to really isolate the concentration of these antibiotics into the leg again to try and save it. And through these doctors and the technology that's out there and everything, they were able to save it, and very fortunate to have, at this time of our lives, the medical technology to be where it is.
So I guess I see you're a pretty broad guy. I guess that kind of helped out when you accident. You were already pretty strong physically, so it was helping you carry you through. Now, where are you at now with your leg? Is there any next step? Is there anything going on right now to help you, better that down?
For sure, it's kind of the light at the end of the tunnel is getting closer.
Okay.
Through all those surgeries, the basic end game is I'll get a knee kit, and what they'll do is re-x-ray me again, have a look and make sure the areas that had defects, like in my femur, will be strong enough to accept the trauma, basically, of the knee kit getting put into my leg.
Yeah.
I went about 2 years ago to kind of touch base with my doctor. I was getting a little antsy and going, are we getting close to getting a knee kit?
Yeah.
And the x-rayed me, says, well, he says, we're still concerned about a defect that's there. If it blows out when we try to put it in, it's going to be big trouble.
So they really want to make sure that when they do it, it'll be done right, it'll be solid, it'll work well for you. And it's something that, you know, now once you have this knee, I guess it'll really help you with pain and whatnot, right? So you're talking about pain management right now where you always have pain.
Exactly. Having the knee kit is going to be awesome. I'll have no pain. I'll pretty well walk normal. I'll be able to do all the things that, you know, there's some things I'm just physically unable to do right now.
Yeah.
Once I get the knee kit, it should be...
that'll help you out a lot.
It'll definitely help out a lot.
One of my main questions is, you had this motorcycle accident, so you were on, I believe you said it was a Harley you were on, and you hit. How were you feeling mentally after this accident? Did you ever have the thought of never riding again?
No, I never for a second thought I'd never ride again. It's been riding since I was a little kid. It's something I absolutely love to do.
Yeah.
And you know, it wasn't the motorcycle's fault. It turns out it wasn't even my fault. I was 100% in the right, but the actions of somebody else changed everything.
Change the course of your life. This is, you know, things like this for our viewers is, we hope that we get a message out there. It's important to watch where you're going, where you're driving, whether it's a motorcycle, whether it's a truck, a car, it doesn't matter. We always have to keep an eye out for each other on the road. And, you know, in your case, you were, you know, this gentleman turned left right in front of you, so obviously he wasn't paying attention, or he has, you know, bad judgment on speed or something, right? And it drastically changed your life. Now, you had something forward to look up to because you were, you know, you wanted to ride again. You said you wanted to ride again. Did you start riding again?
Absolutely, and probably about an hour sooner than I should have. I went through a whole process, as you can imagine. Once the surgeries were done to, you know, start to strengthen, to put load bearing on my legs, being in a wheelchair for so long, and then it was braces. We got fitted with a brace that goes into the boot, and then it locks at the knee and goes all the way up to pretty well your groin area, and the back of it rests on the ball of the bone. So it really helps to
support the leg
and take some of the weight off. And then it was learning how to walk with a walker, with all the braces, and then it was crutches, and then from crutches it was to 2 canes with still 2 braces, and then it just all eventually went down to 1 cane, 1 brace. And
so you eventually wanted to get back into riding after you were healing up, and you mentioned, you know, an hour or two soon, you went out and bought a bike when?
I was still in a wheelchair when I bought the bike. A friend of mine showed me a picture of a Vrod when it was in a magazine still. They weren't even out. I said, oh, that's what I want right there. I thought that was a pretty awesome bike, and called Trev Dealey Motorcycles and said, hey, I want one of those O2 Vrods when they come out. Put me on a waiting list, and can't remember how long it was, but some time went by and they gave me the call and said, hey, your bike's ready. Yeah. And I said, okay, well, I'm not really. I'm still in the chair here, so.
You weren't ready to ride.
Right. Mentally I was, physically no. So I said, hey, can I change my day or my order to a 2003 and get the 100th anniversary model?
Yeah.
They were very accommodating, said no problem, and
oh, that's very nice of them. That's really cool.
Absolutely, and sure enough, I don't know again how much time went by, but they gave me the call. The bike was ready, and they delivered it to my home, and it sat in my garage until I was ready to get on it.
So you must have been pretty antsy having that thing in your garage, right?
Dude.
I can imagine how many times you probably rolled out there in the garage and sat there and probably tried to look at the bike and probably polished it up a few times. You know, you never rode it.
Yeah.
Sure. So now you've been riding your bike. Now, when you're out on the road, how are you feeling? Are you feeling more cautious? Are you more defensive? Or did any of that change in your mentality when you're out there?
To a certain extent, yeah. Like I was always a cautious driver, safe rider. but you still can't, think what other people are doing. So
Yeah.
when I'm out there, I'm extra conscious of, anything on the road because,
exactly.
you never know what that person or might be doing or not doing that they're supposed to, or so try and give as much room to everybody as possible.
So what I'm hearing here is a message from Jeff probably saying, when you're out there, you're driving or riding your bike, is to make sure you have enough room everywhere around you so that you have time to stop and all that. We know sometimes things are impossible, physics play a role and everything. You've changed your life drastically, and now you're back, you're on a motorcycle. I noticed too that you, when you have to sit on your motorcycle, you have to get on it in a different way now. Can you explain sort of how you have to get on your bike because of your leg?
Yeah, it's pretty unorthodox. I have to walk up to the bike, sit on the passenger pillion, and grab my right leg, swing it over the bars, then slide down to the driver's spot, and then I'm ready to go.
You're ready to go.
Yeah.
Now, once you have your knee and all that, is that going to change for you? Will you be able to have a little more support on your leg?
I think so.
You think so?
I don't know for sure
So
until I get it,
you're
but
hoping for that.
I would imagine so. Yeah.
So now you've done all this, and you're back on the bike. You're out riding a lot. And then you started this life-changing endeavor for you now, which is, VrideTV, which is, something we're going to talk about in the other segment. But you're doing that now, so you're getting out there and you're putting a lot of miles on this bike, right?
Yeah.
You got like over 140K on this thing right now.
Yeah.
And you started riding, what, late 2003 maybe?
Late 2003, maybe even 2004.
Really?
And when I started, the actual first place I went was the site of my accident. Rode there and just kind of sat for probably 10-15 minutes and just kind of reminisced and just again, you get an overwhelming rush of how grateful you are to be alive.
Yeah.
And how grateful I am and fortunate I am to have a wife that stood by me, family and friends that went above and beyond to help me get through a really tough time in my life.
It would have been a tough time too, and I know what it's like when somebody's not feeling well and all that. You probably have to, you get the crankies and everything, right, going in there. So
I don't imagine that was too much fun to be around some days.
Props to his wife. I met his wife, and she's an absolutely amazing person. You're very fortunate to have, your wife in your life because, like you said, she was a great support. So now, when you got out there, the first day you went out and rode, and you saw the accident site and everything. What was your overall feeling when you were out there on the road? Did you have this sense of, oh yeah, I'm back? This is like a big comeback for you?
This is what all my hard work was for. This moment right now.
It was worth it for you.
Absolutely.
Right? It was worth it. Guys, we'll be back. We're going to talk with Jeff again afterwards about his new endeavor, VrideTV.com. We have a big special interview coming up for that. Jeff, thank you so much. You know what? It's been phenomenal. Congratulations to you. Again, guys, this is a great inspiration here. You never give up on your dreams. If you're out there riding a motorcycle and something happens to you, look at this guy, man. He's back out there. Anyway, stay tuned. We'll be back very shortly. Take care. Bye-bye now. Hey guys, welcome back to Canadian Gears. I am here with Jeff Pennock. Thanks for joining me, Jeff. Good to have you. We're going to discuss the segment on VrideTV, which is, as you remember, we were talking to Jeff earlier about the motorcycle accident he had many years ago, which led him into a different career in his life. So now we're going to discuss VrideTV, which is what he's doing now full time. So Jeff, tell me, how did you start this?
Well, as you touched on, after the accident, it was a whole process of learning how to walk again and all that, and then there was learning how to ride again, so everything's a little different, and then from there building up my endurance for little longer rides. Then had a relative getting married in Calgary, or in Edmonton, pardon me, so my wife and I rode out there.
Yep.
Great ride, loved it, it was comfortable. On the way home, I said, I want to ride across Canada. So she says, okay, let's do it. So we came back and just started getting everything into play, and it started off where we're going to get a really nice camera to capture, some still shots along the way and make it memories for us to last. So it went from that to, well, we should get a high definition video camera, and then we'll be able to videotape it, and we'll be able to have these memories forever. And then just before we were preparing to leave, Sony came out with this high definition video camera that wasn't the size of this. It was a nice consumer type size, but still high definition. Bought it, was only in Canada for 2 weeks, mounted it on the handlebars of the bike, and did some test footage around to get the stability good. And once that was all done, we were ready to go.
Now guys, keep in mind, this was done with twist ties at the time, just so you know. Carry on!
And we originally were planning to leave in July, and we had a friend come to stay at the house, and he was going to take care of the dog and the cat and everything, and live here while we were gone. That all changed. He gave me a phone call and said, "I'm moving to California to be with my fiance. I can't stay at your place anymore." Everything's just changed, right? So understandable. I said, "Hey, no problem." He says, "Well, when you leaving?" He says, "Well, middle of June." I says, "Well, if we go end of April, can you do it?" "No problem." Done. We started planning, getting everything ready, which was only like about a 3-week before our departure date.
Yeah.
So we got it all together and started off our way. We started in we ended up in Catesburg, Newfoundland. We started in Victoria, BC.
So you traveled all across Canada, and when you were doing this, you were taking still pictures, you were getting videos, and you were getting stuff. So you obviously, when you came back home, you figured, you started viewing these videos, and is this where the idea popped in for VrideTV?
Well, the concept of it actually came from the people we met along the way. Every time we stopped, whether it was a gas station, restaurant, a point of interest, hotel, people would see the cameras on the bike and say, "What is that?" Explain it's a high definition video camera. We're filming a ride across Canada. How can we see it? Was the first question out of everybody's mouth.
Really? So they were curious. They really wanted to see those videos.
When you hear that every day, so many times a day, we realize there's an audience waiting to see this.
And so you started doing this. So obviously you started investing your own money in this. You started off, you went out and you bought a whole bunch of equipment. Like we have some of the equipment here, as you can see, guys. I don't know if maybe if you want to walk through some of the equipment you have here for us. I see here we've got some helmet cams. We got some cameras in a waterproof box. You might know twist ties, as I said, tie wraps. We got all sorts of goodies here. You've got handheld cams and all that. So maybe start off with this guy. Work your way here and let us know what you have.
For sure, we use all Sony equipment. This is the HDR CX700V, which is a long name for a really awesome camera in a small package.
Okay.
The next step up from those are those shoulder ones you see on.
Those big guys.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what we use primarily for our tripod work, setup shots, and when you see us come by and stuff like this. This one here with the light, this is more of a handheld one for low shots.
Yes.
A boom mic on it as well. Wide angle lens. We protect all our stuff with ordinary waterproof bags. You don't have to worry about water getting in or anything like that. Throw them in there. All of our gear is set up. Another one, we got a waterproof case with a camera in it that it's not always sunshine and blue skies on a motorcycle, right? So we got our gear in there too. And on my Schubert helmet, we've got a Sony Professional POV camera. And when those actually came out, it was about 4 years ago, I think. We were one of 10 people to have them in Canada.
Really?
Yeah. High-end camera, and
really?
The shot that it gives is just...
You get it. Now, being a helmet cam, I guess it must have some sort of image stabilization, right? Because you get a lot of head buffeting going on and stuff like that.
Absolutely, yeah. They do have image stabilizer in there. And being sitting in the middle of the bike, as you know, as a rider, you're in the best spot for the suspension. So your body is kind of like the big shock absorber for the camera.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, when you're wearing this helmet with this camera, is it catching any more air than usual? Are you feeling a little bit of drag on it? Is there anything different, or is it just there?
There could be a very minute bit, but definitely don't notice it.
Really?
And Schubert actually makes the quietest camera. Or pardon me, the quietest helmet.
Helmets, really? Yeah. These are the quietest helmets.
They are. They've done extensive researching in wind tunnels, and Schubert makes dynamite stuff.
Well, you see, folks, we're learning a lot of stuff here about what goes on here at VrideTV. Now, you have to carry all this equipment with you when you go. Like, all of this comes with you, right?
Absolutely.
We travel around.
We pack all of this and more.
Wow. We'll be right back, and we're going to discuss the motorcycle itself and some of the adventures that this guy has had there along the trails, okay? Stay with us. Hey guys, welcome back to Canadian Gears. I'm here with Jeff Pennock. We were discussing some of the camera stuff that he's got. Now, everything you see here has to get carried on this motorcycle over here. Jeff, thanks for joining us again. Can you tell us a little bit about this bike? What is this?
It's a 2003 Harley-Davidson 100th anniversary Vrod.
A Vrod, eh?
Yeah.
I like those bikes.
Great bike. We've logged in some serious kilometers on it, and it's been an awesome bike.
Well, I bet you've got so much mileage on this. And I was watching some of the videos. So now you've got a camera mounted up front. You got a camera mounted here in the back. Now this here is a satellite receiver.
Yeah, that's actually it's an inReach Explorer, and what that does is when I've activated that, people can track basically in real time. There's about a 2 or 3 second time delay.
Yeah.
And it leaves little breadcrumbs on a map.
Really?
So you'll be able to, let's see what VrideTV is today, and you'll be able to follow us where we are, riding, shooting, filming. And
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty
So all this is live on your website, and
absolutely, yeah.
and that's at VrideTV.com, folks. Don't forget that.
That's the one.
Now, when you started mounting all this to your bike, obviously, so you bought the camera, you bought the waterproof casing and all that.
Yep.
The mounting system itself is phenomenal. It looks like it was made for this bike. I guess it was, right?
Thanks. Yeah, it's that's about number 5, I guess. We've made a few different ones over the years, and just refining it a little more, and getting it to what you see today. And
Really?
having it the way it's set up, as you've seen from some of our videos, it's the steadiest shot out there.
It is very steady. It's incredible, guys. You gotta go up. You gotta go to VrideTV.com and check this out. You'll see some of the videos they have. It is absolutely incredible. Now, the machine itself. You were telling me you got some pretty high mileage, but where did you buy this and when did you buy this?
Originally bought it in 2003. A little bit later when it came in, and bought it from Trev Dealey's in Vancouver.
So you bought it brand new at Trev Dealey Motorcycles?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And from there they delivered in the trailer to sit in the garage here waiting for me to get strong enough and out of the wheelchair to ride it.
Imagine that, guys. He still wasn't well enough to ride, but the Trev Dealey dealership came out here on with the trailer, and they brought the bike here for him. That's pretty cool service. Thumbs up to you guys for that.
Absolutely.
So now you bought the bike off them. I noticed you've got how much mileage on this thing now?
Just under 147,000 kilometers.
147,000 kilometers. So the engine's never been opened up.
Nope.
Now, where does your servicing get done? Do you do your servicing, or do you bring it in somewhere?
Heavens no, I don't do my own servicing.
Okay.
I take it down to the guys at Trev Dealey Motorcycles.
And they've been taking care of the bike from day one?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah,
So you get
done
the
all
tires, oil, everything gets done over there?
They've done all the servicings for me.
Really, eh?
Yeah.
And you're satisfied with your service?
Absolutely. I was actually a long-term customer before they ever became a sponsor.
And now they're even one of your sponsors.
They are, yeah.
That's pretty incredible, guys. So you've got 147,000 kilometers on this thing. You've had a service at Trev Dealey all the time. You've never had any massive breakdowns or anything. It's never let you down or anything?
No, it's an incredible machine,
Really?
And we've gone through all kinds of weather conditions.
Yeah, I'd like to discuss that. You were mentioning the weather conditions. Can you remember specifically, now you going across the country, especially you're mentioning in April, I'm sure that when you down east, you must have hit some pretty nasty weather. 'Cause that time of year is an iffy. I'm from Ontario, and I'm sure, I know what goes on down there. You get everything from a really sunny day to, hey, here comes hell.
Yeah.
So, can you give me a couple of examples, some of the weather you've been stuck in and how extreme it was?
Yeah, absolutely. We went to Victoria at Beacon Hill Park, Mile Zero, the Trans-Canada Highway, on April 27th. Came back here, did some final adjustments to the bike and the camera equipment, and we were going to leave on May 2nd, and from doing the testing and tuning, picked up a nail, and we had a flat tire. So our departure time got pushed back a day, so we left the following day, May 3rd, and began our way across Canada. BC, Alberta, we had some pretty decent weather. Lucky, especially going through the mountains. Gorgeous through there. And then once we started getting closer to Winnipeg, the weather really started to turn. We actually ended up staying overnight, a couple nights in Winnipeg, just to let some storms brew down. There was a hurricane or tornado just 90 miles south of Winnipeg, blew a barn apart, so we stayed there an extra day. Made our way to Ontario, and we ended up looking.
That's when you.
Pretty much, we woke up in Upsala, Ontario, turned on the Weather Channel, and it was -1 with a -8 wind chill.
Jeez.
So I don't know how that calculates out to doing 100-ish kilometers per hour, but yeah, it was pretty darn cold.
So what kind of gear were you wearing?
Back then, we were wearing the Harley-Davidson FXRG stuff.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Kept you warm.
It did. We had a Gerbing's heated liner in there as well, so that helped. But that morning from Upsala, we threw everything on, including our rain gear over top, just to break some of that wind.
And you also had some of the curtains from the hotel, I understand.
Yeah, the shower curtain. But we had to leave there and go out in that weather because it was actually getting worse ahead. So we had to make it to Thunder Bay in time to miss the freezing rain that was in Nipigon heading that way.
So it was really a race against the weather. You really had to get there before that and all that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now, in all this time, have you ever had to come to a point where you were riding through a bit of freezing rain or really slushy roads or something on the bike, or were you fortunate enough to keep on dry grounds?
On that trip, no. That was the coldest we got, and actually when we got to the hotel in Thunder Bay, we were pretty cold. Dropped our gear, hit the hot tub, and shortly after, a fella comes up and says, "Is that your bike out there?" He says, "Man, did you guys lucky you got here when you did? They shut down the road, big accident and stuff." Wow. So yeah, we just missed that freezing rain. Stuck in Thunder Bay for a couple days, which wasn't too bad. We were staying in a nice place there, and then it was on the way, and then lots of rain. Lots of rain that we went through. There was a system that the weather girl was saying that's hunkered down right over this area, this huge green blob, and right in the middle of it.
Oh my goodness, you're smack dab in there.
It was
so talking
feeding
about
off the Great
hell,
Lakes.
eh?
Yeah,
Wow.
it was pretty wet.
So the bike fared fairly well. You had no problems. Now another thing we were discussing is that you also ride 2-up. You have your wife with you.
Right here.
So this bike is carrying an awful lot of load here. You've got all your camera equipment. There's yourself, there's your wife. Everything's just loaded on this bike. And this thing is just pounding through this weather like a little train that could.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just going, right? So you really have, I bet you must have a bond with the bike right now as well, right? Because you've been through a lot, you know, going through across the country and all that. So you must have some sort of, you know, you have a special bond with this thing, and also with Trev Deely as well for taking care of this machine as well. I also noticed now you're wearing some Alpine Star stuff.
Alpine Stars has been our sponsor for several years now, and now those elements that we're out in, like the rain, not a problem.
It doesn't bother you.
Vortex Pro 5 stuff.
Really?
Yeah, it's they've gone through crazy testing at wind tunnels at 100 miles an hour wind for so many minutes of time testing. Yeah, it's extensive search, and I've proven that it does that and some.
Well, there's no better test than the real world test, right? Like they say, right? It's like one thing I can attest to is that you know, being a biker myself, I know what it's like when you have to stay warm and you have to battle the weather. I've been there, I've done that. You know, you want to make sure you have a very reliable bike, stuff like that. So this is an absolute phenomenal machine. I mean, you've had no massive problems with it. It's just been regular maintenance up and down. That's it. That's all. At 147,000 clicks. That's actually, and this is hard riding, because this is not always just putting around. You're actually, you know, you're pretty hard on the throttle because you got 2-up there and you got all the equipment on this. So this bike must be on average, what, over 1,000 pounds by the time you're done?
I don't know what the weight would be. Luckily, my wife's very small and petite, so we don't have a lot of weight back here, but I make up for that. So, you know, the amount of real estate that she actually gets when you put her bag on there as well to carry some of our overflow stuff, she doesn't have a lot of room.
So that would double up almost as her backrest as well.
The bag, when there's back.
Really?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
So now you're traveling along. You can explain this to me. You're traveling along. I see here there's buttons on top. So none of these are remotely operated, right?
You can actually turn the camera on, off, zoom, all that kind of stuff with this.
With this.
But we don't. Here's why. By the time you see something cool coming up and you want to film
It's
it,
too late.
it's already gone.
So you're just rolling camera all the time.
All the time.
You start the bike, start the cam, away you go.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you've got tons and tons of footage to roll through when you get home. You know, and you're doing your video editing, and I know what that's like. It's the most time-consuming thing,
Yeah.
right? But you're doing this, and you've got the rear camera as well.
Yeah. The
So-
rear camera we use on certain shots.
Okay.
We don't have this one running all the time. We
Okay.
have the handlebar cam running all the time, and also the helmet cam. Those two run all the time. They see the most.
So the helmet cam, that's the one that I'd be looking at. I was looking at some of the footage where you're actually off the bike and you're walking towards, you know, the big grizzly bear that you fought and all that. That's the one, right?
Yeah.
That's the one, okay.
That's
Yeah.
the handlebar. I don't know about the bear, but that's the.
Oh wait, that's the
gallery.
other commercial, yeah,
Yeah.
it's not the same one. But I did see, you know, where you were walking towards animals and you're filming, like there was a couple of bucks that were going at it there, you know. So I guess that was from your helmet cam, because you seem to be on the side of the road.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that was a pretty cool day. I was in Kananaskis country,
Yeah.
and I was coming back from a nice evening ride, and it was just getting, you know, a little bit dusk, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw something moving. It's probably about 150 feet in the bush.
Yeah.
And it was like this path cleared out. So I stopped, took a look. Sure enough, there's two big elk, and they're rattling each other's horns. Had enough time to grab my tripod, grab my camera, set it up, put my telephoto lens on,
Really?
zoomed into these guys, and man, you saw the
I
footage.
saw the footage. I
It
was impressed.
It was just so unreal seeing that and
Yeah.
being there in person. I'm looking at my camera finder
It's like
thinking,
National Geographic for real, man. Here I am, you know, I'm right here. Tell me, what is the strangest thing you've come across?
oh man, I don't even know where to start with that. Like stuff in the road.
Yeah.
I've come up on a mattress in the middle of the road. I've been following vehicles with carrying a boat and boat trailer and the life jacket fly out.
Yeah.
I've seen, you know, you see a lot of stuff on the road. You know,
Yeah.
broken pallets, tire bits. That's very common. This one I've never seen before, and I would say would be the answer to your question is, a friend and I were riding. Just coming back from a nice long day ride. We were coming past Hope, British Columbia, and for absolutely no reason, the car, maybe about 100 feet ahead of us, we were in the fast lane. This little white Fiat was in the slow lane. As we were approaching it, there was this surreal moment where it was like in slow motion. What happened was the driver's side window of that car exploded.
Oh, wow. My
No
goodness.
reason for it. We were just in a treed area. There's no reason for it to happen, and we were showered. You know, this tiny little safety
Yes.
glass, showered in glass. And it all didn't
Wow.
break in the small ones. There were some chunks that were, you know, hadn't
Mhm.
broken up yet. We both got hit by it, and again, good gear, full face helmet. If we weren't wearing full face helmets, we probably would be, you know, having a
Some in
few,
your eye or something.
or yeah, scarred up or something, because you never would expect that in a million years. Never seen it before, haven't seen it again.
So safety for you is also, you know, listening to this, safety for you is paramount when you're riding, right? You want to make sure you got good protective gear on, your boots, your gloves, your chaps, your jackets, your helmets and all that, right? I guess also on the road, when you ride across the country like that, like you said, you're seeing all sorts of stuff, mattresses and, you know, glass shards and whatever. Like, it's absolutely incredible. So VrideTV right now is you're going around, you're videotaping that. Now, are you also mapping out on your website where you've been and the places you've done? Are you also having some sort of, I guess we could say, a repertoire of where to stay or where you've stayed, what you recommend, what you don't recommend? Do you do stuff like that? Or?
We touch on it a little bit. We've actually did a promotional video for a gentleman that owns a hotel in Lake Louise and also
Yeah.
one in Jasper, and we showcased Icefield
Sure.
Parkway. And that bookends probably the most scenic spot
Mm-hmm.
in Canada to ride.
So for us
Outstanding.
bikers, it's good that we can go there and go on your website and we can view some of the videos and say, hey, I'd really like to ride there because I've sort of seen the video, now I want to go and do it for real, right?
I want to be there. in
And
person.
you're encouraging that.
Absolutely.
Now, I was also looking at your videos, and it would be cool, you know, for us people here in Ontario and Quebec and the other parts of the country where we have, you know, a lot of snow, you know, we can't, you know, our bikes don't do very well even with snow tires. It'd be great, you know, we could take his videos, put it on a big screen TV, and put our bikes on a treadmill and pretend.
Only thing you need is a big fan and a space heater.
Hey, see, you got something going on here. You should invent that. What else is what's in the future for VrideTV?
Well, We are a motorcycle touring and adventure travel site. We cover more of the traveling aspect of motorcycling, World Heritage Sites, provincial parks, national parks, all the cool roads that get you there. The points of interest that you'd stop at yourself if you had more time. You know, those are the kinds of things that we showcase, and we never miss up an opportunity to catch wildlife on footage.
I saw that, and I've seen some of the other stuff.
The mountain
goats,
the mountain goats,
I've seen all that. I know.
Yep.
Absolutely incredible, guys. You really don't want to miss this. VrideTV.com is the place to go. You can also look them up on Facebook. We'll have stuff on our website as well soon. But I really want to thank you, Jeff, so much for all your, all your information on this. Guys, phenomenal bike. 2003 Vrod. It's been a good bike to him. Trev Dealy's been good to him. Alpine Star's been good. All his camera gear and everything. Congratulations, Jeff. Well done.
Hey,
we'll see you soon.
Thanks for having me.
Guys, we'll be back with some more stuff on Canadian Gears. Stay tuned. What a machine. Wow. Hey guys, welcome back to Canadian Gears. You might recognize this bike. This is the VrideTV.com Vrod that Jeff Pennock has driven all across the country. And when you go to VrideTV.com, all the videos that you see are videos that were taken by the cameras that he has on this bike. So I thought we'd talk about the bike a little bit for you gearheads out there who want to know about the bike. It is a 2003 Harley-Davidson Vrod that Jeff bought brand new when it came out, when he started riding after his accident. So we see here he's got a lot of stuff on this bike. You've got the baggage over here, you've got the cameras, you've got carrying luggage over here, there's lots of stuff. So this bike is doing a lot of mileage, but it's doing heavy mileage. It's been around Canada, from coast to coast. Jeff said he's had no problems with it, everything's been done. Trev Dealy Motorcycles is where he bought it, and they're the ones that have done all the maintenance. So kudos to them for doing all the maintenance on this thing and keeping it running it brand new as well as it is now. So we're going through some of the stuff over here. It's an 03, it's a stock engine. Nothing's been done to the engine. It's never been opened up. We have in the front here, as you can see, you got all the mounting brackets for the camera. So that weighs down on the bike. Jeff custom made this himself so that it fits the bike nicely. We have over here a fork brace. We have the steering stabilizer over here. We got all the bags over here. We have, for comfort, Mustang seat, because he's always riding two up with his wife, so it's very it's very comfortable, and they need that comfort when they're doing all the travel. So kudos to them, because Mustang does build one hell of a seat, because I've ridden on them myself before. He's also got front and rear progressive suspension. That helps, especially when you have a lot of weight. You don't want to have suspension that squishes down on you. It also helps with the handling of the bike, so it's very important he's got good suspension on there. He's riding on Avon tires, a premium tire, I believe is the Cobra series. Very high mileage tire, very durable, good traction. I know myself, I've ridden on some of them too. Other things he's got here, as you see, he's got all the normal saddlebags, Screaming Eagle exhaust. Everything else on this bike is absolutely stock. He's got the Pia lights, he's got all sorts of stuff. This bike has been through anything and everything, in all sorts of storms and everything. So I think it's a testament to the Harley guys that when they built these bikes, it was actually really cool that they went out and did something like this. So we're going to close off by saying thanks to VrideTV.com. Thanks to Trev Dealy for all the help we had here while we're here in BC, and we'll see you guys when we're back in Ottawa. Take it easy, guys.